So as the studio opens and we have the options, the choices to practice in the studio, to live stream, to on demand, how do you see kind of this evolving, both as a teacher and a student?
Well, as a student, my personal preference was always going to be in person. But given the choice between nothing and online, I'll do online. And my preference would be online, that it's actually happening in the moment, as in live stream, as opposed to on demand. But that's just me, and everyone's different. And in coming back to teaching, I've noticed that certain people kept practicing throughout the pandemic online, and they were happy being online. Other people just didn't want anything to do with online, and they were just kind of like starting over after a 2-year of not practicing period. So it's very individual, but I think that the online and the on-demand is probably going to stay with us for a while.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing that one of my students said when we went online, and she was a professional dancer, I mean, traveled all over the world dancing, that when she started studying online, she felt the performance anxiety of being in class go away, which I had never considered that, you know.
Yeah, no, for me it was the opposite. I was terrified when I had to do my first online class.
As a teacher or a student?
As a teacher.
Well, yeah, as a teacher.
Because I was just, it's so different, so foreign, you know, not having anybody in front of you and still acting like they're in front of you. And, you know, because on the YouTube, you couldn't see people. Right. As in Zoom, you could see them, and you could somewhat see them as little tiny squares. But on a YouTube, you don't see them at all. And yeah, I rehearsed a lot. I felt like it was just such a big deal.
Yeah. Well, you have some of those YouTubes on your website, you know,
yes,
which is great. You know, it's a way for people to kind of be introduced to your teaching style, and I think that is really helpful. Would you say that your teaching has evolved because of having taught online?
I would say probably my verbal cues have become extremely strong, for sure. Yeah, and also helping guide students into self-adjusting.
Excellent, yeah. Excellent point, into self-adjusting. Can you give me an example of what a cue might sound like?
Well, if you're in, say, you're in Warrior 2, and just have them bring their hand, their palm against their inner thigh of their bent knee, their front knee, and then just kind of feel that, and then bring it out to the outside, press into your hand and feel that, and yeah, that kind of thing. And even in a twist, I have them take their one arm overhead, and then bring the hand to the opposite thigh, and just kind of lengthen that down toward the floor.
Ah, okay, so that rather than you giving an adjustment,
yeah, well, online I kind of explain it that way, and even in class I'll say it that way sometimes. That way everyone kind of can get the adjustment, and because I can't get to everyone in the class.
Yeah, no, I love that idea, you know, so that there's a tactile of them. So you reinforce, your students hear the cue, hear the instruction, they can see you, but then there's also the tactile of them encouraging the groin to extend toward the knee, and then kind of that strength and that grip, that stabilizing into the hip socket.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good teaching technique.